The purpose of this press conference is to address what I think is one of the most serious situations facing not just the Delaware River Basin but our country, and that is the, I believe, unregulated at this time, and certainly irresponsible recovery of natural gas through the process called fracking. You may be aware of this. What happens is that you drive a certain amount of energy underground with fluids that drives the gas up for them to capture. The problems are many. Some of it is that displacing that natural gas also displaces toxic chemicals into the aquifers, into the drinking water, into the water supply. You've probably seen that movie, some of those movies, and they're not made up stunt tricks where the water starts on fire from the methane. Another problem is the storage of those chemicals now that are displaced the natural gas underground, and the fact that they do leach to the surface eventually, in most cases. And then you have also the consequence, I believe it was Oklahoma, someplace where they normally don't have earthquakes, where they did a lot of fracking, and they all of a sudden experienced a lot of earthquakes, because you are, there's a certain stability in the strata, geological strata of the Earth's surface and underneath it. And that is, you know, maintained by not just gases and solids and liquids, but a combination of all those things. And when you start messing with that, you're going to have a propensity to displace the normal order of things. So, and one thing that has caught my attention is that we have the ability through 4 people in this region to prevent fracking in the Delaware River Basin. That is the Governor of New York, the Governor of New Jersey, the Governor of Delaware, and I believe the Chairman of the Delaware River Basin Commission.
And the Governor of Pennsylvania. The Governor of Pennsylvania.
The Governor of Pennsylvania?
And the Army Corps.
And the Army Corps, that's on the. And there has been a certain guarantee that this decision to authorize this process in the Delaware River Basin will be delayed. This is a very serious matter because we have 13 to 15 million people who access the waters of the Delaware River Basin. And the willingness of Governor Cuomo, one of the votes in this, to allow fracking, although not in the Delaware River Basin, but to allow fracking to start in the Susquehanna River Basin, concerns me that he would be willing then to concede that it is, other than it is, a safe practice to allow fracking, something that will not affect us. And so that has caused me to rethink how active we have to be in regarding natural gas fracking. I sit on the National Council of State Legislators as a topic of discussion, but I think that it's fair that this state takes the lead on some of these issues. And so I will be, in response to concerns expressed by certainly the League of Women Voters, Clean Air Council, Sierra Club, and
Delaware Nature Society.
Delaware Nature Society, and others who have looked at this issue and with the circumstances that I have. And I will be, next legislative session, I will be introducing several bills relating to hydraulic fracturing, and I want to announce this today because I don't want people to think that we wouldn't have done it this year. I think it's the urgency would have dictated we do it this year, but we are in the last day of the session. It wasn't going to from a practical point of view, it wasn't going to happen. So this is to affirm that I will be doing this in January. I have a resolution recommending the Delaware River Basin Commission not allow further development of unconventional gas until it's proven it can be done in such a manner as to ensure the health and safety of the public and the ecosystems on which we all depend. Of introducing a bill limiting the level of radon in natural gas delivered to Delaware to that currently present in our supply, because radon is known to be the second leading cause of lung cancer. Of introducing a bill making it illegal to possess toxic fracking fluids and waste in Delaware. This is in response to recent reports that the intentions were to send the fracking waste solutions to the DuPont factory so that they could run it through their wastewater cleaning process and then add more to the toxicity. I do want to at this time commend the legislator of the state of Delaware that has said they will not allow this process to happen. I think that it's incumbent upon us that all of these states that are going to be affected don't take just a stand, but take a resolute stand in legislative form that we are not going to allow this type of activity, which threatens the health of not only this area, the planet, the ecology of the people, seriously threatens the health of the people if we don't respond to this. So, in conclusion, if there's any questions, and I know that you're all here, you might have a question to ask regarding what my statement is, feel free to.
Well, that resolution, is the resolution something you can do today?
No.
Okay.
A resolution has to be introduced and passed before, and I don't have a very flexible leadership on the last day through, they just don't want to have something like that. It would be, you may think from your point of view, and my point of view, it's not even a topic that should be controversial. It is. Whenever you have big business involved, whenever you have the oil companies involved, the energy suppliers involved, the fossil fuel industry involved, there's big money in that. They don't want to miss a trick on it. And they're not going to allow any kind of slowdown just because of the simple fact that people are being, health and well-being is being threatened. Compare that to the almighty dollar, they'll take the dollar every time. And that's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. That's why we have to legislate against that kind of thing. Any other questions?
Do you have any co-sponsors yet?
No, I haven't
You
even
haven't
solicited
started that
co-sponsors,
yet.
but I'm sure that I know a few that I'll get on board with this, because I think that in the fracking, I know in the toxic reform legislation requests I made to our congressional delegation, I had over 30 signatures for this body on a letter asking that happen, that the newly created toxic reform measure be allowed out of committee and be moved forward. And it was very much a willingness amongst, there's a lot of good people here that understand the consequences of letting unfettered business activity, or coined under the phrase business activity, which is threatening to the health and welfare of our planet and our people, that they're not going to just say, it's okay, here you go to town. So I think we have it.
One other question, what can citizens groups like ours do to help you in this process?
Well, you certainly have to make sure that it's well known what we're talking about here. More of a piece on the radar. We know, and experts know, exists in there at higher levels, but you have to explain that to people. Why are we concerned that it's going to be a threat to just possess this in here? Well, possess isn't the term we're looking for. Possess, because that means they intend to do something with it here, and the very threat of it being in our possession here, above ground, not placed underground as currently is in some places, stored under there, which is not a guarantee that it will escape. So we have got to stop it at the gate. We have to say, here, we're not allowing poison to come here. We had this same discussion, and we were very successful in stopping it a dozen years ago, 10 or a dozen years ago. It was the VX nerve gas disposal. They wanted to ship VX nerve gas from Indiana. The Army Corps of Engineers was all in favor of it. It's very harmless, they said. It's been neutralized. It would go into our ecosystem, the Delaware River, and it would change the ecosystem. Not to mention the trace amounts of, and there were more than trace amounts of toxicity and toxic chemicals in that. That was a battle that got to the point where the Army Corps of Engineers brought in a staff of about 20, and they had a huge public meeting because they wanted to say, hey, there's no harm here. Let us do it here. Let's just throw it into the waters that we drink out of, we fish out of. And unfortunately for them, I brought with me an article, and there's a classic activist, Mary Ann McGonigal, who wore a fish outfit. Because the article that I wrote was a newly rendered opinion from our own den rep, that if you fish in the Delaware River, in this area, and if you catch blues, I think that's bluefish, is the fish that's most sought after because of its activity and fight, and it's taste. They said, don't eat more than one a year. That was the official stance of Delaware. And they wanted to add to that? No, this has got to stop, and we're in a position to slow it and hopefully stop it.
Representative Kowalko, what would you say to those who say, you know, we don't have any shale in Delaware, so why should this be a concern to us?
I say 13 million to 15 million users of the Delaware River Basin water supply is just the answer to that. And they make that argument. They say, well, it's none of your business. No, my health of my taxpayers, of my constituents, of me, my children, my son, these are my business. My business isn't limited to whether or not it's going to cost them more to extract the natural gas in Oklahoma, but if they're damaging the planet, or if they're damaging our environment, if they're damaging our ecology, I don't care where it's at, it is my business. I'm a citizen of this country, and I'm a citizen of this world. And all of my constituents are. So I a very easy response. Take those millions of people that are going to access that, put them at risk, put them at threat, and then tell me that you have a justification to keep on doing it. Is that all? Thank you for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Representative.